Good morning, you delightful humans. We take our thoughts to round 4, 5, and 6 for this video here. Roosters have their bye in round 4. We have the Titans in round 5, and then the Sharkies in round 6. So plenty to think about with those 3 weeks. Obviously, looking on from that, you go to the Tigers in round 7, and we're already having some issues with a few of the Tigers players, Adam Doohy. And then we move to the Raiders in 8. So the next 5 especially, the next 3, but the next 5 are really going to be important when you're looking at team structure, players, and the like there. So we will go through each team, where they're at across the next 3 weeks especially, and go through our general stats as well, which is going to be important week to week, and kind of getting an idea, guys, of the types of teams you want to come up against. Are you going to be having a lot more tackles through the middle, a lot more runs through the middle? If you're looking for those types of players, are you looking for higher point scoring? We'll go through that in each of these updates here. But you're looking at this first game, obviously very high scoring. So we know that this can happen with Para. We know the Eagles can put a lot of points as well. How is their defense? And at this stage, it looks like there's a fair few points in them, and against them as well with these two teams. You saw the game before with the Eels up against the Sharks, that it was very high scoring also. At the moment, that's a team you want to come up against if you're looking to score points. So time of possession was the same, 49-51. Completion rate was really low, so there's a good strategy to see how and why there's so many points in this game. A lot of cheap turnovered ball in their half there. Attack, plenty more runs for the Eels, even though they had the same sort of possession there. Post-contact meters, the Seagulls were much better in that scenario, showing again why someone like the Eels are going to be having a lot more points scored against them. Set distance was much higher for the Eels. They seemed to get a lot going there. And play the ball speed, the Eels allowed the Seagulls to have a really fast play the ball, which was very interesting there as well. If you're looking down the line, defensive efficiency, not great for the Eagles. That's why they put a lot of points on. And tackles are pretty low in this game. So middles, if you had any Eels and Seagulls, guys, you can see why Hopgood didn't score very well in that one. So that's our first game of the round, guys. Shows that, very high scoring meant low tackles in that one. Knights v Dolphins. Before we get to them, let's go through the Dragons and where they're at the moment. So Sharks, Dolphins, and Titans are their next 3. And what we're seeing from the Dragons so far is that they'll actually be okay. So I'd imagine this Sharks game, if Hines is back, that they will come out and lose this one. The Sharks need a bounce back game, and unfortunately I think that's going to be against the Dragons. So I still think they'll go okay. And then the Dolphins and Titans, you'd imagine fairly close ones for them. So if you're looking at players like Tyrell Sloan, like Jack Bird, I don't think it matters too much who he's going to come up against, but someone like Sloan, scored well against the Broncos last week. Can he do it against the Sharks again? I don't see why not, and he's not super expensive in this one. So that's the Dragons in that one. And then we'll move to the Eagles now, and they're sitting coming off 2 nice wins there, obviously against the Dogs, who were pretty poor, and then the Eels, who were solid in this one. Going against the Bunnies, which is going to be a tough one. The Knights after that. So if you're looking at guys like Tebojevic, if you're looking at DCE, for example, or Kohler, these players there all have a couple of tough games ahead of them. Rabbitohs and Panthers in the next 3, and Knights in between, sandwiching those two squads there. So if you're looking at this team here, no clear advantage for these type of attacking players, but no clear disadvantage either, with Panthers not playing up to their best, but having Knights in the middle there to be able to score some decent points in this one. Okay, let's move to that next game, and that was the Knights v the Dolphins. The Dolphins ended up having a fair bit more possession, having put on some extra points as well, given they won by 16. Time of possession was much higher for them, 4 minutes extra, and completion rate was up as well. So it shows that this is a team that you're 3-0. They're a team you don't really want to reckon with at the moment, because you're coming up and not playing as well against them, completion rate wise, scoring wise, and obviously losing as well. Attack numbers all favoured the Dolphins, which showed a lot of their middles, a lot of their outside backs got good run meters, got good tackle breaks, got good offloads, and did an awesome job there. Play the ball speed was really slow though, so that's something that I think we saw last week. It wasn't very high either. Last week's one was the Panthers having the best play the ball speed, and the Knights actually had a decent one, and it showed why they were able to kind of maintain some closeness in this game. Average set distance as well. They won that one, and kick return meters, they did a good job and got quick play the balls that way. So really, yeah, apart from the Dolphins just dominating in total runs, the possession and the completion rate, Knights did some good things, and that's what kept them in this game. If we're looking at tackle efficiency as well, 94% compared to 90%, so both teams were good. Knights were able to hang in this game for that reason and made a lot more tackles. So, all the middles for the Knights, you saw Leo Thompson as one of those guys that really benefited from this. Phoenix Crossland had 50 tackles, and the Dolphins guys, 294, not crazy, when they were able to get good attacking stats, as well as get the good defensive stats as well. So that's really all we need to speak about on that game. Let's move to the next couple of teams there. The Panthers, who are coming off their bye, which is awesome. So they have the Eels, Raiders, and Seagulls over the next 3. So even any offensive players there, you got the Tungos, the To'os, Dylan Edwards, these types of players there. It doesn't really get much easier for them. The Panthers and the Rabbitohs have had a super tough start to begin this year. Eels, Raiders, Eagles. The Raiders one's going to be okay, but they still got a decent win over the Sharks on the weekend. Eels, I'd imagine probably see some points in this one, but it's really hard to work out because, that's their rivalry game. You see the Rabbitohs and the Roosters games be a lot of animosity between the two teams, and this could happen again for the Panthers and maybe be a nice, low-scoring game, but the way Eels are defending at the moment, you wouldn't expect that at all. So that's the Panthers at the moment coming off their bye. They have a nice clean run all the way through to round 13, and obviously that means they would have 2 byes by round 13, and it gets a lot easier from there. So Panthers guys are definitely of interest, and shouldn't be trading out any of Cleary's, the To'os, the Tungals, these types of players there in this round. Roosters, they got the bye this week, then the Eels, the Storm, and the Sharks following that. So guys in that side, the only reason you should be holding them is if you think that they are going to stick in your team all the way through to 13. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty tough sledding for a lot of those types of players like Egan Butcher and the like there. So probably worth trading out of your side. Roosters and the Rabbitohs. So yeah, really fun game in this one, and the stats say it was pretty close. Completion rate for the Bunnies was really poor. You don't really expect that from them. 76 for the Roosters is solid enough, and it shows why Rabbitohs weren't, probably have a few more attacking weapons at the moment, are playing better, but the completion rate really killed them in this one. They were still able to get plenty of run meters in that one there. Average play the ball speed, 4 seconds for the Bunnies, so they were just able to be held up really well, and their completion rates just gave them no momentum in this one. So what that really tells me is that Bunnies won't be that bad again, and they'll be able to come out next week and do a lot better from here. So defensively, still, tackle percentage there was decent, and thankfully that kind of kept them in the game. Tackles made, with it being 20-18, the tackles were up 336 and 358. So middles in this game obviously scored pretty well as well, with guys like Murray, Totola doing a good job there. Victor Radley had a really good game as well in this one. So let's move to the next few teams, and that's the Titans coming up, Titans and the Sharks. So Titans, as I said, have their bye next week. They're dealing with the Cowboys in round 4, and then the Dragons following that bye in round 6. So the types of guys you'd be looking to hold at the moment in the Titans probably be guys like Fafita. I think you can clearly hold someone like Cam Pereira after a decent game. Try and get a good one against the Cowboys, given that they aren't playing super well at the moment. And then you can reassess in the bye. If you really need another wing fullback, then great. But if not, you can just leave him as cover in that one. He's not too expensive, and he's hopefully going to make you a little bit of cash now. That especially if he goes alright against the Cowboys, he's going to be hold. Tanner Boyd, you can probably hold this week and look to move on in round 5 if he continues to not score any tries. Any try assists there, and the Titans continue to sort of be average. They have won 2 of their first 3 games, so I can't say how they're too average, that's for sure. Sharkies, guys like Teague Wilton, I think you can hold all the way through till their bye in round 13, and all the teams we're speaking about at the moment do have that bye in 13 after their first one early, so something to think about as well. Sharkies there got the bye in 6, and then you have another 6 rounds out of them before they get their bye in 13 as well. So Sharkies matchups, Dragons and the Warriors, pretty solid. So attacking plays in this, obviously guys like Nico Hines, if he is back. Braden Trindle, hopefully he is out, but if he is still playing, you're clearly playing him in your 17 each and every week against these types of players, and outside back should do pretty well. Whether you should go after those guys like the Kennedys, the Ramians, probably not, but definitely something you should look at. Titans v Storm, what a high scoring game this was, crazy. Possession was directly at 50%, time possession was almost exactly the same there. Completion rate for the Storm was disgusting, and you won't be expecting that again. And whoever comes up against the Storm this week, which we'll go through in a sec, should be in a spot of bother, you would say. But then again, we said that, last week, and they got trounced as well. And, we said that coming into this week, I should say. And, they were really poor again. So they definitely need to sort their shit out. Let's say that. Average set distance is pretty low for these guys, 35 and 36. Obviously, with a bunch of errors. And play the ball speed pretty slow for both teams. We haven't seen anyone with a really good play the ball speed yet this week. Close to that early threes. And that's that there. And then we move to the defensive stats, 86% for Titans. So you should be able to get plenty of tackle breaks on them week in, week out, and 89 for the Storm. We're still solid tackles made, both under 300 at 275 and 288. Not very good overall. So let's go on to those next few teams. Tigers and the Raiders there. So Storm, Broncos, Eels. So 3 tough ones for the Tigers. We shouldn't get too excited about any of their players. Even guys like Johnny Bateman, I think you can wait probably until round 8. At least another week or 2 before you make any decisions on him. I think guys like Isaiah Papali'i, you either go round 8 or I think you go like round 14 when he's bottomed out a little bit. Dewey's going to be the worry this week. We'll speak about him in a little bit further detail once we find out more, but it does sound like his injury is not great and could be moved to the fullback position for this week with Dane Laurie coming back in round 5. So that's the Tigers side. Not too excited about any of their plays at the moment, to be honest. And then the Raiders, you got Knights, Panthers, and Broncos. So guys like Harley Smith-Shields, I think you can clearly hold them this week against the Knights, and then potentially you could move him on in round 5. They do have their bye in round 8, so there's a world where you hold him all the way through. But otherwise, maybe round 5 is the time to move him on for a better option, given that he's not going to be making too much cash over the next bunch of weeks. Other guys in the Raiders, that we're going to have a little bit interested in, that's Tom Starling if he happens to get the 80 minutes, but we know what Sticky's like in bringing a second guy in. Wolford, for example, Starling is a gun in 80 minutes if he gets it, but how many weeks does he get in that position? That's the question you need to ask yourself. But outside backs in this one, apart from the Knights in round 4, Panthers and Broncos is going to be pretty tough, so keep that in mind. And we may as well go to the Storm while we're here, but they got the Tigers this round, so you'd imagine I would definitely be holding all of your Storm players this week. If Warbrick if he gets named in this team list, you have to play him this week. Surely they can come out and do well, and he can score well also. If you have enough good wing fullbacks, then that's fine. Don't play him, but I think this is the round for him to be in your squad, and then you can move him on from there. Cowboys v Warriors, very sad one for my boys. Time in possession, 32.5 minutes for the Warriors, 25 minutes, or just under 26 minutes for the Cows. So a big difference possession-wise. Completion rate, 80% for the Warriors, 75% for the Cowboys. Is pretty low for them. So they've been very good over this first few weeks, especially after that 20-30 minutes. They do a great job, and then they are pretty poor for them, to be honest with you. 7 line breaks to 1. That tells all the stats. Average play the ball speed, pretty similar across the board, 3.72 and 3.79. Other than that, kick defusals were solid. Defensive rating, 88% and 86. So not amazing for the Warriors. You can still get a bunch of tackle breaks off them. Tackles made, 382 for the Cows. So that obviously helped guys like Robson and Cotter when he was on the field for that limited time. And then 333 for the Warriors. Was still decent. You see, Tohu Harris still got the 41 tackles in this one. Okay, let's move to the next few. We've got the Knights, and a team that we're not super excited about at the moment, Raiders, Seagulls, and Warriors. So not the worst stretch of games. If you have outside backs for these guys, you're not going to be hating it. If you have middles for these teams, you're not going to be too stressed either in that one. With the Knights, Dolphins, Broncos, Dragons, and Cowboys. So once you get through the Broncos there, it gets a little bit easier for the Dolphins. So guys like the Hammer are still very relevant. Very keen to see how he plays this week, but in terms of picking him up, it's probably a little bit late to wait all the way through to round 4 and then look to pick him up from there when he's not going to be like a 50-point scorer, I doubt. So yeah, that's that way then. Guys like Tom Gilbert in the middle, I think are solid no matter what. You get them all the way through to round 11, which is great. Very helpful for your side. Warriors will go to next, and Dogs, Sharks, Knights. Pretty solid, to be honest. You're not too stressed there. I still think guys like Sean Johnson are going to be a good option. I'm actually looking at him this week, depending on how team list goes, as a solid upgrade. He's going to be solid there. Guys like Jackson Ford, I think you clearly need to hold if he gets his spot back. Chance if you held on to him. Again, not too stressed about him. So Warriors players, pretty excited about them. Tamati Martin, he can have a solid one as well. All right, let's go Broncos, Dragons. Time of possession was pretty crazy. Broncos, 28.5 minutes, 21 minutes for the Dragons there. Completion rate was good for both sides. This was kind of like a game that blew up right in the last minute, and average playable speed better for Broncos. That's why they kind of got over him at the end. Offloads were way higher, 13-4, so that was important. And then the percentage, defensive percentage, 92.2% for Broncos. Shows how good they're playing at the moment. Tackles made a little bit down for them, which is why someone like Carrigan didn't go as crazy. And, Dragons 328. So looking at all those players like Dragons, you're not too stressed about that effort. They had did a good job until right at the end. So that was that. Dogs v Tigers. So again, the Dogs really dominated, hence why time in possession is so high. For them, completion rate was up for them. Wasn't great for the Tigers. Runs were pretty similar across the board. Play the ball speed, the Tigers had a better one, especially through that back 15 minutes there. Dogs fairly slow in that department, so somewhere where they can improve and blow the teams off the park a little bit better. And sort of defensive efficiency both at 87% there, which was okay. All right, let's move to the last bunch of teams here. Doggies, who we just spoke about. So Warriors, Cowboys, Rabbitohs. Not super stressed about Warriors and Cowboys. I think they'll be close games. Rabbitohs will be a tough one. But the next few weeks, if you're looking at attacking guys in the Dogs there, Hayes Perham and stuff, you're not going to be too stressed about how they're going to play. Eels, you're looking at Panthers, Roosters, and Tigers. So two pretty tough games again. And as I said, it gets a little bit easier from round 6 all the way through until their bye in round 14. So yeah, keep that in mind with Eels players at the moment. Cowboys, we've got Titans, Dogs, Dolphins. So still not super worried about the draw, but the Cowboys need to improve as a side if you're interested in any of their players. So yeah, Tom Chester, we want him to score well. If you're looking at Val, then again, just really any of their players, they just need to score. They just need to play better as a squad for them to be worth it in your side. Broncos, Dolphins, Tigers, Raiders. So really nice set of games here. If you've got Reece Walsh on your side, you're looking to get him in your side, please do it. Herbie Farnworth, these types of guys are going to be great. And lastly, the Rabbitohs still have the Manly Seagulls, Storm, and the Dogs over the next 3 weeks. So it doesn't get too much easier. Look, slightly easier than the 3 games they've played. The Sharks was a tough one. Panthers are a super close one. Roosters a close one. We'll see how the Eagles one goes. Storm are struggling a little bit. And Dogs are a team that's going to be a bit up and down. They almost lost to the Tigers at the last minute there. So that is that one there. And then we'll move to the last game. Raiders v the Sharks there. Time possession, 53% for the Sharks. They had the ball a little bit more, completed a lot more. But Raiders just happened to take their chances when they got it. All run meters were so high for the Sharkies there. So it was very much a back and forth game. They ran for 8 extra meters per set as well. So very well done for the Raiders. Had a slower play the ball speed. Very, very interesting in this one, how they actually did this. And we'll have a look at the tackle percentage. And it was lower as well. So they really just got there and they took their chances. So probably shows that they're potentially a little bit vulnerable still. For them to play, for the Sharks to play this well and not beat them. Is that good signs or bad signs for the Raiders? I just think it really means that they took their opportunities in attack. So good signs in that department, but means that they still have a few things to clean up with Sharks, doing much better across the board in all of these stats, and they'll still manage to win. So good in one way, bad in the other. But that is the final part of this video, guys. Let me know how you're liking this one, if the 3-game impact and looking ahead in towards all of their buys. And obviously it's going to be even crazier once we get closer to the actual buy period. And let me know if these stats are helping you, because I think it does week in week. If you can go back and quickly check out these games and their stats, I think it does paint a bit of a picture over a longer period of time, 2, 3, 4 weeks, as to how teams are playing and if they're turning things around, what you can expect in terms of missed tackles, which means tackle busts for your type of guys, offloads for your type of players. So if you're looking at sort of 3 to 5 game plays, then this is the way to improve your squad and make the best decisions going forward. So good luck with your teams. Good luck with team lists tonight, and I hope you all go well. See you later.